Hi, Mr. Adams. Grant Putnam here, Putnam Landscaping, about 11 o'clock Tuesday morning. So I went ahead and I drafted a scaled design for you. I figured I'd put my best foot forward. Typically, we actually charge a fee for this, but it's not a huge amount of area, so we went ahead and just did it. Figured it'd be our best chance to attain your business. Um, and by the way, thanks for being patient in getting this. So I'm just gonna go through this with you, and then we can take it from there. So for the front of the house, some of the objectives were we want to get some screening from the neighbor. So whether they park a car in their driveway, or obviously, if you're walking up the front walkway, you're not going to be looking at their house. So I suggested two different types of screening plants that grow very skinny and columnar. This way you don't lose space, bordering the neighbor's driveway. Okay, we would have to check to look at your survey and see where your property line is, but I'm assuming from looking at the fence, the neighbor's driveway is right up against the property line. Okay. Then what we typically think about is adding height off the corner of the house. So I labeled as tree A, and I gave you a few options for trees that will work in that area. Okay. I had American boxwood along the foundation, which will eventually grow about 4.5 feet tall. Evergreen, and it will block, like for example, looking at the concrete foundation. So I kept that relatively simple and clean lines right up against the house, and then in front I added more color. So I have drift roses, which are in front of the boxes on this side. Those bloom late May all the way through frost. So there's no other plant that will actually bloom as long as a rose. So I had that for color on this side. And by the way, this is southern exposure, so the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, but you get a lot of sun on southern exposure because the sun always swings south during the summer. Had some ornamental grasses kind of mixed amongst both beds on both sides. And then I also had Nepeta Little Trudy over here, which is one of the longest blooming perennials that you can buy. That means it will come back every year. It has little blue flowers and it's really pretty. Okay, and then on this side in the front on the border, I had Liriope spicata, which is one of my favorite kind of very low ground cover perennials. That will also maintain its color during the winter, which most perennials won't. And it has purple flowers during August and blackberries in September. Then I thought it would be nice to add a planter or a pot with annuals. That could be a fun project for your wife or yourself to switch out the annuals every year, and give you a blast of color right off the edge of the walkway, front and center, right in front of your walk. Obviously, the left side of your walkway, and it'll be a nice focal point. All right. The other eyesore was the electrical pole. So the electrical pole is about here. So I think we should install a tree in this general area to help screen out that electrical pole over time. And same thing, I give you multiple options for that. Okay. So as we go to the backyard, for the backyard, we talked about expanding the patio. So I said, okay, let's pull the patio 3 feet in this direction, 4 feet going towards the rear part of the property, using the same type of product, same type of materials, which are pavers. Transplanting the yellow common cypress, the yellow euonymus, which are in the front, and there's also 2 in the back, over to here. So 3 and 3 euonymus transplanted. Ornamental grasses that grow roughly 5 feet tall as a separator in between, and then endless summer hydrangeas in the back corner. All right, on this side, lilac tree on standard, which is a very compact growing dwarf Korean lilac. It's fragrant, blooms in late spring, and it has really attractive foliage throughout the rest of the season. Off the back corner, red twig dogwood, which blooms late spring again with a white flower, but has red, very red bark. So during the winter, it really stands out. So for winter interest. And then a green mountain boxwood, which is a pyramidal shaped boxwood off the corner of your garage. Okay. In regards to irrigation, the key with irrigation is you can't have your lawn sprinklers overspraying into your plant beds because you'll kill your plants. Lawn is going to require a higher frequency of water, whereas plants, once they're established, require a lower frequency. So that the water always needs to be separate by using separate zones. So I suggested doing rotary heads, which are zones which are sprinklers that spray water roughly 30 to 35 feet in this area for the front. Whatever tree we choose here has to be able to take wet feet, all right? And then this way we don't have to worry about the lawn sprinklers with a higher frequency water in it. Then mist heads along this side. So mist heads are basically like a compact rotary head, and those are designed to water smaller areas, okay? A drip line zone, which is like a soaker hose that goes underneath the mulch in the front of the house for these plants in the front, okay? Let's look here in the back. So then again, another drip line zone for all the plants in the back, and then mist heads in here and here to cover the smaller areas, and then rotary heads to cover the larger areas. So you'll notice that's also part of your quote. All right. When you're looking at your quote, you're going to have a printout of this. Each category is broken down into subtotals. So you'll notice that each section has a subtotal. My advantage is going to be pricing wise on the larger material and the more expensive material. You'll notice I have a pricing advantage on that because the way we buy our plants, we buy it in huge bulk, and we have a 4-acre holding yard. Our other advantage is that we can handle the whole project in-house. So this way you're not depending on multiple contractors. You don't have issues with warranty where the irrigation company doesn't do it right, kills the plants, and then they start blaming each other as far as whose problem it is to replace what's not right. And then our last thing is basically word of mouth and our history and our attention to detail. So much like this quote that's very detailed, you can expect the whole communication process and how the project evolves is going to be with the same level of detail. So you can expect great quality plants, great customer service, and good follow through. All right, but this is the proposal. I included some options for putting outdoor lighting, which is really popular. It's all brass fixtures, LED lamps, and you're using 12 volt versus line voltage, which is coming out of your house is 120 volts, so it's much more energy efficient. All right. So anyways, I'll shoot this over to you. I appreciate the opportunity. Any questions, give me a call. Thanks. Bye-bye.